our kids are so different now. They're so different. They're exposed to so much. And then the types of conversations that you have to be prepared to have with them. I mean, covering from self-esteem. And I mean, these kids are dying by suicide, and then their gender identity. I mean, it's just so much. And you can't just say, don't do that.
It's the Self-Care for Success show. Meet your certified life and book coach, Joanne Dean.
Greetings and welcome to the show. Today's guest wears many hats. She's a passionate educator, an elementary principal, ministry leader, and wife. But the title she's most proud of is she is a child of God. Please help me welcome Katrina to the show. Welcome to the show, Katrina. How are you?
I am fine. I am blessed and highly favored and just excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. I always like to do a check-in because we just take for granted that everybody's okay. And with so much filtering into our lives, I like to pause and just check in and to see how we're doing. My next question for you is, what has inspired your journey?
What has inspired my journey? First is staying focused. Growing up with older parents, they will always say, Katrina, stay focused, stay focused. And I just think about like watching them growing up and how they faced many things, but they always brought it back to what was important in life. And that is just staying focused on Christ and staying focused on your home and family, and everything else will fall into place. So yes, that's what inspired me, is watching my parents and just remembering, the little sayings that they used to say when I was younger, and now that makes sense. I'm like, oh, this is what they meant. So yeah.
Yeah, that is so funny how our parents, because my grandmother raised me, and you would always hear that you'll understand it better by and by. And I said, well, I guess I need to by and by.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
understanding it. Yeah, absolutely. So talk a little bit about who is Katrina?
Always pause at that question, because now at 37, I'm a lot of things, but you can have a lot of titles, but the most important one I say is being a child of God, and just really understanding that's it. That's the most important thing. And so, of course, Katrina now is a wife, and I'm an elementary principal, and you have all these titles, and I'm on Facebook and I'm on social media. But being a child of God, and being at peace with no matter how much you accomplish or how much you go through, that is what sustains me. I know that's what will never ever change. I live in Augusta, Georgia with my husband. Been through different things. Actually, we're celebrating our anniversary tomorrow, so this is sweet. Yeah, so it's been 6 years now. We dated 3 years, been married 6 years, 9 years knowing each other. So I'm a lot of things, but like I really like to keep it at that child of God. Trying to stay focused and just be peaceful, you know, as you get over. Once you get out of those tumultuous 20s, you just like, Lord, you got it.
So what does being a child of God look like for you?
Giving it all up to him. I am a perfectionist. I'm a do-gooder. And after all of that fails and me making all of my plans, finally just letting the Lord lead and guide me. And not trying to plan everything out and trying to figure everything out, but being at peace with, when I go to sleep at night, okay, I've done what I'm supposed to do, and let me just trust him with the rest, whether that be career choices, marriage, life, everything else. So calming down, just letting God do his thing.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned that you are a perfectionist. I'm also a recovering perfectionist. Talk a little bit about your biggest fear and if you've overcome it.
My biggest fear is not being good enough. And I don't know, I'm still working through that. I will be honest. So not being good enough, a good enough wife. I talk to my husband about this all the time, not being a good enough teacher, or am I doing good in my administrative role? And so I like over plan, and I'm writing like, should I do this better? Or just trying, that whole trying so hard thing. And so I could say I've gotten a lot better over the years, but I still find days where I'm just like, oh man, I could have done this better, or I should have did this, I should have that, rather than not overthinking and overdoing it. I mean, it's authentic, but it's sometimes just trying too hard. You're gonna stress yourself out. And I've learned from that too, what it does to your health when you overdo it, you know.
So what lessons, you say you've gotten better? What has helped to make progress in that area?
I'll be honest with you. God has a way of teaching you when you won't listen. And for me, the lessons have been more so seeing things in my health. So for example, I didn't know this, but all during my 20s, I was dealing with a chronic pain disease. And then when I got married, I'm just married, super excited about life, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And so I would be standing in the classroom, and basically I was brought to my knees. Like, I passed out in pain, everything. So I've been through so much, multiple surgeries and everything. The stress made me sit down and reflect on that. The lesson learned, like, nobody else is going to take care of you but you. And so the lesson I learned is not to be selfish, but take care of yourself first. And when it's all said and done, you need to make sure you're okay. Because sometimes, we can just give, and we're not taking care of ourselves. And I will say, I learned the lesson the hard way with my health, by having to deal with so much that I still deal with now. I've gotten better at it. But I will say that's my testimony, that I'll be honest with you, I shouldn't even be here with some of the stuff that I've dealt with. So it was a forced lesson because I got sick.
Does self-care look like for you now?
Just sitting down somewhere. I mean, honestly, sitting down somewhere, not overthinking, come home, leaving work at work, coming home, winding down, watching little crazy TV shows, nothing too strenuous, because that's another, I just got to be careful what I put inside of me. But, fun stuff, like funny stuff like Golden Girls, or, just not doing something that requires you to think so much. Just, you could just be, come home, read one of the books I like to read, make a good meal, go for a walk. It's just simple stuff, when you have the money, online shopping, iBuying, as my mother would say, so just valuing that time where you don't have to do anything. It's okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Doing nothing is the best remedy. Talk a little bit about, what do you want to be known for, and how do you want to be remembered in your community? Because you do have your hands in a lot of things, and it's important for you to succeed in those areas. So talk a little bit about what way you want to be known.
I would like to be known for my compassion. Like, you can buy people things, you can help them, you can do things, but I really want to be remembered for my compassion and wanting people to just feel the love of God through their interactions with me. Like, everybody that knows me knows I like, you remember, Joanne, I love to laugh, and I don't, that's therapy for me. And so if people, they'll remember a little stuff like, oh, she went to this school, or she did that, and that's great. But when people think of me, I just want them to feel something different. Just feel that, man, when I was around Katrina, man, she just made me smile and forget about all my worries. Like, it's okay. Like, I could tell she loved me, or I could tell that she was so compassionate and wanted me to do well,
I love that. So what's next for you?
Right now I am just still settling in to married life and all that looks like, and still learning day by day. Going into another year as principal. I'm excited because last year I had to do double duty with teaching second grade. It's a shortage of teachers. Hopefully one day that will be solved. But last year, the school that I was at, I was starting off as principal, and we had our second grade teacher to quit 2 weeks before. And so I had to do double roles. And so it was a very, very hard year. I finished strong. I'm not that person like I'm going to take it by the horns. I'm going to do it. But I will say it was exhausting. So I want to start off the year being able to actually be a principal and an instructional leader. And of course, just doing better at that, learning how to lead my department, and us to be helping build not just smart kids, but informed and thoughtful, and just the whole child, really pour into them and their families. In my home, I'm just typical, like, looking around, thinking about things that I need to get done. Like I told you earlier, we're celebrating our anniversary this weekend, so that's fun. And then next weekend, my husband doesn't know, like, he knows I'm doing something. He's turning 50. He knows I'm doing something, but he had a lot of surprises coming. So I'm really excited about that. So just, enjoying family, planning out for a new school year, doing a lot with my church. We're doing a lot of changes and building, because I think it's, people say COVID is done, but people are still, you know what I mean? I'm like, we're still rebuilding, and people are still getting sick from COVID. So still,
yeah, that's why I don't know how it's done, and people are still.
Yeah. So just kind of what life looks like after 3 years of doing everything virtual and rethinking things. Our youth group in church, we're rebuilding. We're looking at like how kids. So I'm just kind of looking at the world of where it is now, my little world, I should say, and what can I do, and being honest with myself, what I can't do either. Like, I don't want to say that's not my problem, but it's kind of like that, the art of no. I don't have the capacity to give you what you need. So let me refer you to somebody who can. I can't counsel everybody. I can't be everything to everybody, So finding that balance.
Yeah. That's some great self-awareness.
So
to know that you can't do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you transitioned from working full-time ministry to becoming a principal.
Well, let's see. So that was a wonderful experience when I was a children's pastor at a church in Atlanta. I really loved it, but I also knew that I wanted to transition. I really wanted to still be in ministry, but I wanted to do a little bit more. So I went the trajectory of, when I was done being the children's pastor, I went into a charter school system and taught. So just kind of still public education. And then when I moved to Augusta, was still in public education. And I'm going to try to say this without sounding mean or awful. I did not particularly care for public education. I'm not saying there aren't good schools out there, but in general, my experience was more draining than anything I have ever experienced in my life, being a public educator, because there's certain things I couldn't do. It was certain guidelines we had to follow. And then now with everything that's infiltrating through curriculum and things like that, just for things that you're forced to teach, forced to talk about, that I just didn't feel comfortable, dealing with. And so after, let me see, I did the charter school in Atlanta, did about 2 years in Richmond County in Augusta. And I took a break, like I told you, for my health, because it was just a lot going on. And so I took a break for a couple of years. And then my husband was like, "Are you going back to teaching?" I said, I don't know about the public school. I never say never, but I'm just not impressed. And so went and applied to various Christian schools, got accepted to all of them to teach. The school I'm at now, I went in and I felt different. It's a school that's been in Augusta for over 60 something years. The church is older than that. It's connected to a church. And it was honestly historically a school that was all white, privileged, but it's changed leadership and they're trying to do something different. So went in there and felt God led me there. And so I started off teaching with them. And then the head of school said, Katrina, I really see you in leadership broader than the classroom. And then let's transition to that, which I might add was all in what was that called when we were with DeVos? Was it the action plan? I forgot that thing we wrote out.
The breakthrough plan.
The breakthrough. Literally what I wrote down is what happened because I always saw it. So it just happened like that. And we know why. It didn't just happen. But that was the transition. And it wasn't really forced. It kind of just, and I'm here now, just really enjoying it and learning a lot. It is training ground because when you go from public to private, there are various factors. I like the Christian education. I will always love that. But the dynamics with being a minority is something I'm learning about, still learning about, that I haven't really put a title to any of it. It's just I'm in Augusta, Georgia, and there are still ways of thinking that are just, different. So even about race. So it's still kind of dealing with all of that stuff. It's embedded. It's a type of culture. That part of it I love, and part of it, you want it to change, but that's the old South for you, Mm-hmm. So it was a nice transition. It didn't flow perfectly, but it kind of, when I learned from something, and then God moved me into something else. And what I learned from that helped me into the season I am right now. So
I love that. And I love that you get to reflect and see the breakthrough happening in real time.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you wanted. And I smile because when I reflected on my breakthrough plan, when I was asked to write for the newsletter, that's the article that's above my head.
I saw it. Yeah.
That was a part of, my plan that I would work with them one day.
Yes, I opened it up and I was like, I'm glad you said something. Yes, I was like, I meant to send a group of texts, but you know how you doing so many things. I'm like, look, it's one of us.
So that was really exciting. So it's so heartwarming to see your breakthrough plan in action.
Oh my goodness.
For that, Katrina.
Yeah, I text Ron. I said, it's happening just like, anyway, I'm going to get teary-eyed. It's happening just the way I wrote it out. Because I felt like when I wrote it out, that God was doing something. And I was like, wow, this is ambitious. I literally had on that principal at a Christian school. That's how close I was to, like, everything.
Yeah. Well, there's power
mm-hmm.
writing down what we want.
Yep.
Absolutely. So I love that for you. Is there anything you want to share that I did not ask you about?
As a woman that really started to deal with health things and really have been humbled through that process, telling all women, please listen to your body. Please take care of yourself. You're not crazy. You go to that doctor and you make them listen to you. And if they don't listen to you, you find another doctor, because I wish I had the words of how many doctors I would go to, and they just said, oh, that's just the way it is. Like, you just have to. No, it's certain things that should not be happening with your body. Your body should not be in that much pain. And you just say, oh, yeah, that's what I deal with. It's something going on. So you go, and it's going to take work and some initiative, but you go take care of your health, and you go in there and you advocate for yourself, and then you have somebody who can advocate for you if you're not speaking, if you're not able to speak, because we have a tendency, I know I did, you push through stuff, and sometimes pushing through, you do more harm to yourself than good, because it's like for me, I pushed it aside so long that it made me sicker with the different health things I dealt with. And then once I learned what was going on, I started researching and being able to go to the doctor, advocate for myself, and say, no, this is a problem, and I need you to run some tests, and we need to figure out what's going on. And I will go to every person I need to until you guys listen to me. So I interviewed doctors, like I've gynecologists, all of those. I've even, in my own way, fired them when I felt like they dismissed it. I had one particular doctor that I talked to them, and they say, that's just the way it is. We give you this, we give you that. And I immediately went home and I told my husband, not going back. I need another one. Because when you don't seem like you're valuing what I'm saying or listening to me, then what you going to do if I decide to let you do surgery? If you don't care, you know what I mean? Like, advocate for yourself. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned in all of these years, is advocating for yourself and taking care of your health. All that other stuff, it will fall into place. But if you are not listening to your body, if you are not paying attention, you're going to suffer on the other side. And when I say the other side, the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Mm-hmm. So if you feel something's going on, if you feel something not right, when you do your breast exam, when you do your gynecological exams, or whatever it is, mm-hmm, push through. It's going to be tiring, but you're going to thank yourself later on in life for paying attention and pinpointing what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, because it's absolutely imperative that we become our own advocate, and that mm-hmm, our voice becomes the loudest voice.
Yep.
So thank you for that. How can our listeners stay connected to you or support you?
Oh, wow. Just, I'm on all social media now. TikTok, I'm on there, y'all, but I don't know what I'm doing. Snapchat, I don't know what I'm doing. So Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, you could just put my name in and you can follow me. And that's it. I'm very strategic about how I am on social media. I try to stay positive and upbeat and laughing, and you're not going to get my whole life story, what I ate for breakfast type thing, but it's more so what I'm doing in the community, what I do with my family, what I do in my school, what I do just in various organizations. And so if you want to be a part of that and you want to see that, just follow me on those platforms. And if you want a good laugh, because that's just me, definitely follow me, because that's just what I do. And then sometimes I take breaks and just don't go on there for a while. And then you'll see me pop back up with something silly or something I did at church. And, so that's a great way to kind of stay connected, to get to know me, because family and my church and things are very, very important to me.
Thank you so much for your time today, Katrina. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Joanne. It was so great to talk to my friend, my big sis. I appreciate it. I feel honored that you asked me to be a part of this.
You are so welcome. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Until next time, I'm your self-care sister, and you well. Take care.